So there's no surprise that property portals and estate agencies have been reporting a fall in home sales across the country. And there are several factors contributing to this fall. In fact, if we look at the number of completions, we're expected to fall 21% year on year to about 1 million in 2023, the lowest level since 2012, according to a report from property website Zoopla. And when we see the number of home sales fall across the country, typically we also see the prices fall as well. In fact, if we look at Nationwide Building Society says that house prices across the UK are 1.8% lower than December 2022 when compared to 2023. That's 4.5% lower than their all-time peak in the summer of that year. And in this video, I want to share with you the impact that this has had, not only with buyers, but also investors and renters alike. So make sure you stay tuned. Okay guys, now if you're looking for some optimistic news in the property market, this is not going to be the video for you. For that, you're going to probably have to call an estate agency who's going to tell you that the market's absolutely amazing. So in 2023, we did see a steady decline in property sales, especially here in London, but also across the UK. Now this left both buyers and prospective investors wondering what has caused this steady decline. And the reality is that it's going to be a combination of interest rates increasing, of course, and lenders having to react to this. This weighed heavily on people's ability to purchase property with a mortgage. This once favourable scenario where mortgage rates hovered around 3% had very quickly transformed into a challenging market with interest rates soaring up to 7%. Now, as you can imagine, this change in interest rates really posed a challenge to people who were buying during this period. Let's take a working professional couple as an example here in London. We're going to do a comparison between the 3% and the 7%. Now, a typical one-bed apartment here in London is going to cost around £400,000. This couple earning around the combined income, let's say around about £80,000, goes to the bank, a £400,000 property price, going to get a loan of around £360,000. They put £40,000 deposit. They would have ended up paying around about £1,700 on a monthly basis on a mortgage of around about 3%. In contrast, as mortgage went up, let's say around about 7%, they would have ended up paying £2,500. That's around about £700 difference, £800. That's a huge difference, especially for a professional couple. So the higher interest rates pretty much price them out the market, of course leading to a decline in property sales. And a lot of single professionals and even couples just pretty much were in the same position. So this caused demand to pretty much plummet. And if we can 100% predict anything about the property market, it's that it shifts very quickly. So make sure you subscribe to this channel so you get all the information up to date so you can make informed decisions. So the decline in property sale will also have a ripple effect on the overall property market. In fact, the lower demand and decreased supply caused an enthusiasm of buyers and investors to wane, which could lead to a stagnant or even in some cases, even a decrease in prices. So in short, interest rates will need to start to fall if we want prices to pick up. Of course, if you're a buyer, you don't want that. But if you're a seller, that's really what you're waiting for. And in fact, if we look at the Bank of England, they decided to keep their rates at the same at 5.25%. So we may see this price increase sooner than people may have expected. We are seeing lenders, of course, already adjusting that, regardless of the Bank of England keeping as they are. My prediction is that once they get below 4.5%, we'll see more buyers return to the housing market. And in fact, we already started to see that at the beginning of January. But with the average 2-year fixed rate mortgage currently at approximately 6.3%, this of course may take some time. And the fact that lenders are adjusting their interest rates, which of course is good news, absolutely means you should hit that like button so we can push more of these videos to people just like you. And if you're a buyer, investor, or even a renter, it is extremely important for you to remain optimistic, but of course there are challenges out there. For a buyer, of course, you still have the interest rates and the cost of living, energy bills, and everything else with inflation. If you're an investor, you do have the challenges of the interest rates, but the ever-going changes in regulation. As an investor / landlord, the fact that your property portfolio may have gone down in value, but if you're in this for the long game, and you should be, then that should be fine. And the push to throw landlords into a higher tax bracket. Reduced cash flow And of course, you're increasing legislation and regulation. And for renters out there are also challenges. Of course, low stock and more demand does mean that rental prices increase. And there potentially can also be a problem with quality. So let me explain. If a landlord has a property which needs some upgrading, a room needs painting, furniture needs upgrading, there's a lot of competition out there and a lot of demand. Landlords may be reluctant to do that because if you don't take it as seen, then probably another renter will. So, potentially. Now, of course, markets do shift. At the moment, it is a landlord market, but we're all seeing that it can very quickly change to a tenant market. Whether you're a buyer, renter, or investor, I'm curious as to what your experience has been in the current market. Leave me a comment below, plus it will really help out people watching this video too. So there is something important to take note of, which is that property is hyperlocal. So although you do have reports of property house prices going down and demand being at all-time low, that it can be doing different things in different regions of the country, or even in a city. For example, in London, one neighborhood could be doing something very different to another. Now, in general, if we look at the regions, we can see what the regional variations in house prices are. Now, here are the latest regional house prices figures from the ONS. You can see the difference between North and the South, and London being at 3.6 below. Now, London house prices remain the most expensive in the UK at £516,000 in October 2023, despite the recent falls. By contrast, the North East has the lowest average price of English regions at £161,000 and is the only place prices haven't fallen in the past 12 months. So naturally, there's been a real surge in interest in not only rural, but also those coastal locations, according to the ONS. Now let's look at those areas. House prices in some hotspots have risen at 3 times the national rate. These include places such as Conway in North Wales, North Devon, Richmondshire in the Yorkshire Dale. And if you want to be up to date on other sectors of the property market, make sure you do check out our other videos. And estate agents have also been reporting a lot of interest in rural areas in Scotland. That being said, we've also been seeing a lot of demand of people coming back to major cities, which of course have been increasing the rental prices in particular. While property is hyperlocal and no one has a crystal ball, there are some leading indicators that can give us an idea. And I'm interested to find out what the top estate agencies across the country are predicting for 2024. Here are various predictions for how house prices will change in 2024. Now, although the percentages do vary from almost 2% to around about 5%, one thing they do agree on is that house prices are going to fall in general for 2024. With the property website Zoopla being the most optimistic, estimating house prices will fall just by 2%. And if you have any concerns or questions about the UK property market, feel free to book an appointment with me. You have direct access to my calendar on a link on the description below.